I'm back with Paul Callow, convicted of 5 rapes back in 1987. He served 20 years in prison and was released last February. Also with me is Karen Bardak, Mr. Callow's sister. Paul, when you got out, there was this media attention. I mean, there was a sense that you had kind of given up in prison. You hadn't really taken these courses. What was your reaction to the media attention when you moved into your sister's house? I mean, there was media around the house, there was neighbors. What did that feel like?
It wasn't a good feeling. I really did expect things to go to that point, to the extent that they did. I expected there to be media attention upon my release, but we're talking like that was June the 1st when I moved in, from February the 23rd when I was released. Right. So, you know, February to March, April, May. So there's a few months in between. Right. Things had seemed to have died down, but it was just simply a move from New West to move in with my sister that created
the community that it was in. I mean, this is a nice community. It's not the downtown East Side kind of place. It's Fraser Heights. Is that? Do you think that was a factor in this? I
think it played a role. It's almost that like, well, were the lives and the safety of people in another area less valuable than the people in Fraser Heights? Or why was there such a big commotion about Fraser Heights? There was no big commotion when I moved into the rundown motel.
But if the things that were being said about you were true, time bomb, dangerous, he's going to reoffend, can't you see that that'd be pretty justified? What do you think? Do you blame your neighbors for reacting in the way they do?
Well, they were reacting from fear. And like I said earlier, when you make a decision based on fear or anger, it's usually a bad decision. And you're reacting, you're not acting. I know the difference between the two. You have to choose what you're going to do with a calm head. And I think that was a bit knee-jerk. I don't blame them. I mean, I don't condemn them. I don't...
Would you have done the same thing, maybe?
No, absolutely not, because I would have not reacted out of anger and fear.
But you can sympathize with them, though.
Exactly, I can do that. Yes, I can understand.
You can understand,
but I don't. That doesn't mean I agree, because you can understand something without agreeing with it.
See, I guess what I was looking at is that Stockwell Day's exact words were, "All lives have value." Now, why did the lives seem more valuable of Fraser Heights than, for instance, on King George Highway where I was living? Or
so you're saying they could set you loose there without any...
Yeah, exactly. There was no picketing in front of anywhere else where I lived except in Fraser Heights. So to me, that's almost a statement that, well, these lives are more valuable than these lives. Well, Stockwell Day's exact words were, all life has value, and I believe we're all equal, and each life has value.
You're saying upscale neighborhoods, they have more value. That's the way it was appearing.
That's the way it seemed.
Huh. Take me into this idea. I mean, Paul, let me ask you this question here. Many people that are watching or thinking about you are asking this question. Do you think you could reoffend? Could you rape again?
I can't say that I never will. I wish I could promise that this will never, ever happen again. But just as much as I can't say that this will never happen again till the day I die, no one can say that he's going to rape again before he dies. Like nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody can foresee the future. None of us are fortune tellers. I don't believe the majority of the world is psychic. So how do we arrive at this decision? I mean, you can look at past behavior, but let's also look at what have you done as a result of the past behavior, the programs that have been taken. What have I learned since then? Like, you know, if a guy that's in kindergarten and doesn't know that 2 + 2 = 4, once you go to grade 1 and you learn that 2 + 2 = 4, well, now we can say, yeah, that equals 4. But I mean, so when you learn things, it makes a difference as to the outcome.
You're saying you're a different person now.
Yeah, I have different ways of looking at things. I don't, like I say, we discussed my blaming and blame shifting and how it can lead to frustration and anger and these other things and all these other emotions that build up to get to the point of feeling powerless and angry, which were, I believe, the key roles in my offending. You know, it's trying to stop it before it gets to that point.
And you're saying you have skills now. You have and you seem like you have a desire, a will to want to stop that cycle when it begins to happen. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, because the earlier in the cycle you can stop it, the easier it is. I kind of, I know it's an odd way to look at it, but I kind of refer to it like I tend to, when I notice I'm getting a few extra pounds, get rid of them immediately, because I think when you wait till it's 50 pounds overweight, it's going to be harder to get rid of. Same with the offending or the buildup of the cycle, the buildup phase. Nip it in the bud early when it's just to say, like I say, the feeling of inadequacy. Could have stopped it right there.
Karen, you and you're a very articulate person, you've been educated. When you looked at this case of your brother's and began to unravel the whole thing, looked at his incarceration and all the programs he took, were you frustrated that the perception was that he hadn't taken any courses?
Absolutely. I don't have
Where does that perception come from? Who started that?
Well, it comes from the original documents that were, created over a 20-year period.
From Corrections Canada?
And selective things were taken from those documents from Corrections Canada and released to whoever, and that's what ended up in the media. Now, when you take select documents, you can create whatever you want.
Why would they want to paint that picture? Why wouldn't they want to keep, make him look as a good person, that they reformed him? Why would they want to, in a sense, say, we didn't do a good job and now here he is?
Well, you might want to have to ask them that. I think there could be 10 reasons why they do that. I can guess at why I think they would do that.
Give me a guess.
Well, maybe to get him back in as quickly as possible. That's a good guess.
You're saying maybe they wanted him to reoffend?
I think they wanted him back. I think it's quite possible they just wanted him back.
Do you ever think about suing Corrections Canada for false information?
Well, I can't sue that. I don't have a lawsuit. I mean, it's not me. I can't sue anybody. I mean, I might be able to sue, certain people in the media, but I don't personally want to sue anybody. I think that, a lot of people could look at this and say there's possible lawsuits. I mean, it's not me I can't answer that question.
There's a couple other things I want to explore, particularly this whole idea of a culture that seems to live in fear, and we almost need someone to scapegoat in order to feel safe. I want to explore that in our next segment. One final segment with my guests after these messages.